And that's kind of the path I've been on since then. Now, I will say, I guess you'd say my desire to really understand society really took off in a very deep and positive way when this thing that we as a society now call 9/11 happened. You know, I was already well, into my career, doing good and all that stuff. But when that happened, I was just thrown away about how people can do these things. And like most people, I was angry at these damn people, for doing that to my country. I dare you, and just that. And then I really start to learn that the world that we think we live in, the people we think that are doing things aren't necessarily the ones doing it.
You better come on. You better come on with that.
So once I found out that the unlifting of the veil, I was like, holy shit. I've been living, in a professional sense, I've been living in a very structured, real, productive world. But as a human being that contributes to society and, really understanding what's important, I've been living a lie.
So that, and I want to go to the next question, because I think this is a very good segue.
Okay.
Because the next question is, what was the time in your life when you felt you were less productive?
Oh, the time I felt like I was less productive was definitely back in the college days when I was a party animal. Wasn't productive. Definitely that time. I've always been, subsequently to graduating, doing all those things and getting my career up and going, I've always been productive. I've always been passionate about work and doing quality work, because I knew what quality meant then. See?
You knew what quality meant?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how important it was. So I've always been productive. It's just that when the 9/11 thing happened, it brought in perspective of the influences that really control society, if you will.
Right, which is why I asked that question at that particular time, because we have a unique perspective over most in that we know a little bit more than what society at large sees.
Yes. And this is simply because we desire to have the accurate information. And that's actually for another whole show about the concept of social elitist, and I actually did teach that in college too. But
really,
yeah, they taught us, because I remember, in sociology, 1% of the population controls approximately 50% of the power. And he used the analogy: you have 100 people. Basically, no, it was 10%. 10 of those people have $50. The other 90 people have to split up the other 50. So when you understand that, that's kind of the power elite theory. But that's important because to understand it. But once I started getting that type of knowledge about how the world really works, I really went with quality into gathering information about the mind in a way that I had even did as a hobby. It no longer became a hobby. Well,
it was more of a way of life.
That was a revelation. It no longer was a hobby. It was a necessity. it was a necessity. It was something I had to do, and now just being a good clinician was something that I did so I could go back and to gain more knowledge.
So the clinician is what you do.
Right.
But it's not who you are.
No. And it never is about anything. And this is about me and who you are and your journey. Your title or what you do is never who you are. I'm going to repeat that. Your title or what you do is never who you are. But how you do it is always who you are. How you do it is always who you are. And that's why you can look at something and say, oh, such did that. Because you can just tell by how good the work or how bad the work is, who did it. So when I really got into understanding and appreciating the mind and how it works, the different facets of it, and understanding all this esoteric information that has been withheld from us, and then not literally, but just in the depths of the hacker world, on the user groups, right? Finding this, I call him saint. I found this saint by the name of Mark Passio, and oh boy, as we say in Fort Worth, it was on and popping.
It was on and popping.
It was on and popping. I mean, really understood. And the thing about it, when you have that passion, one thing takes you to the next thing, takes you to the next thing, and then you start learning about Robert Kiyosaki. Then you start learning about Napoleon Hill, and then you really starts to, it really starts to gel with you. Of course, at this time, we're a little bit older, so that's the journey, and it's still going full speed ahead, learning more and more every day. Like just heck, right now we on Joseph Rodriguez.
Joseph Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about some of the insight and some of the authors that have influenced your journey. Have as it says in the Bible, provide a light unto your pathway. And I want you to talk to the family about how you came to find Ayn Rand.
I don't know. Once again, once you're on this journey, this truth journey, you gravitate toward truth. I mean, there's a somewhat saying out here in the world of intellects and people that what you focus your attention on is what comes back to you. What you put out comes back. But excuse me, I can remember, like I said, being objective about the world, being objective about life. You have to see life the way it is. And I had quite a bit of exposure to men and women. And I was in this phase of enlightenment and understanding power of the real world that sometimes can make you a little cocky.
What?
Yeah, it can. But, this is back in the, I've gotten everything back going on in college. And it's okay. And I came to the conclusion that, in analyzing society, the large part of the reason that women could not dominate in the world, and it was a man's world, is because men can be more objective. Men can be more rational. And the reason we do that, it's not the woman's fault. She has these raging hormones that affect your mind, literally. We know about PMS. We know that, woman can be cranky and irrational when she's, going through that. And in my world, I was like, see, that's why, how you gonna have a woman president? Because if she on her PMS, is she gonna be like, shoot them motherfuckers? I don't want to, motherfucker, I'm cramping. I can't hear shit you got to say. Not understanding the nature of the, those types of offices because they just figureheads anyway. But at that point, and then I was started reading and seeing this woman, and she was a woman, but she really didn't look like one.
She's not easy on the eyes.
It wasn't that she's not, but
that's the truth.
It wasn't the fact she wasn't easy on the eyes. It's just that it was just her eyes.
She's a little mincing.
I mean,
a little menacing.
She has like the blackest period. I mean, it's like you don't see. I don't even think she got any damn white. When I see her eyes, it just look like they're just all black. Like a shark does before he about to bite your ass. But her name was Ayn Rand. And then starting to read her works, that's right. I didn't have a slice of humble pie. I had to go to the humble pie bakery. I had to eat. Because guess what? The term objectivity comes from Ayn Rand, who is a woman.
Who's a woman.
So, yeah, a woman can be objective when you come up with the shit. Yeah. So, you know what? And I just laughed. I was like, well, shit, boy, you got to take that one back, don't you? For whatever reason. So, really got into Ayn Rand, and really, once again, one of my favorite people. You know what? I have to segue just a bit because people have asked questions. Well, if you could get 3 people at the table, who would it be?
Yes.
Yeah, Ayn Rand would be one. Mm-hmm. Malcolm X would be the other one, and I still don't know who the third one would be. But those would definitely be 2, besides me, of course. Mm-hmm. So
I'll put you at my mastermind table.
Yeah, so that's kind of what she's about, and just really understanding these concepts that were innate in me that she just really allowed me to live. Because, for some reason, the human mind seeks validation.
Yes.
So when she told me it's all right not to be an altruist,
And for the family who does not know, enlighten them on what an altruist is.
Okay, I'm going to give you the clinical version, then I'm going to give you the...
You're going to give me Richie version?
I'm going to give you the Richie version.
All right.
Basically, Ayn Rand wrote a lot. She wrote about a lot of things, but her most famous works revolved around the concept of altruism, which is a concept that man's sole purpose is to serve man at man's expense. Yeah, it sounds a little complex, but basically what she's saying, the best thing you can do is sacrifice your life for others. Sacrifice your hopes and dreams for the benefit of others. And I can just hear the family, that just tells you how prevalent it is, because I could just put in the words, put in the vibration. Did you feel it?
Ooh, you know what? You're going to get the church some money.
It was like, oh, yeah, and what's wrong with that? Well, there's a lot wrong with it.
It's a lot wrong
There's
with it.
a lot wrong with it, because we are here as human beings. Like I said, we're here as spirits that inhabit a biology suit called a body.
What works?
Yeah, right. So yeah, we there's nothing wrong with helping people, but there is something definitely wrong with helping people at your own demise. I'm gonna give you my umbrella, and I'm gonna stand out in the rain and get wet. Yeah. Well, she really talked about how that is a scourge, and how, in so many ways, society was going to de-evolve because of that.
Would you say that we're there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, and it's so funny.